in the Seagram's block of Oshawa, Ontario. I'm an idol.
Don't be scared, homie. Come on. Okay, first of all,
the world is smiling at you. The wrestling business is smiling at you. And don't you frown back on it.
Surprise, surprise, motherfucker. The king is back.
The man to hour, the man with the power. Too sweet to be sour.
Dylan Bowker.
All right, on this episode of Bouts Talking Bouts, I am talking to Stephane Patry, nearly 2 decades in the game as a promoter, helming over one of the more well-regarded promotions in MMA, TKO president on the line. How's it going, Stephane?
I'm doing awesome. What about you guys?
Oh, I'm doing great. I just was noticing that you guys had the big press conference and everything, calling it the biggest event in company history. I'm talking about TKO 41 champion. So in the days leading up, how has everything been? Does it really feel like it's the biggest event? Does everything feel like it's clicking?
Oh, yeah. It feels exactly like what it's going to be. It's by far the biggest card in company's history. We're going to have 5 championship bouts, amazing prelims, and looking forward to it.
Yeah, and the last few events have been at La Tohu, and that's absolutely a great venue. So why was now the right time to return to the Bell Center? Was it just the card was clicking, or just did it feel like the right time in general?
Well, actually, the initial plan was to do the first 6 events, the first season at La Tohu, and then we sold out that place so fast in the first 3 events. We had to move to a bigger venue on the 4th one, but unfortunately, and we did very well there as well. But unfortunately, because of some issues with the venue, we were not able to go back there. So we went back to La Tohu, and it was obvious with all those sellouts that we had to move to the Bell Center earlier. And what a better card to do it than the biggest one in company's history. So we're back at this. I mean, Eventco's been working with us since day one back in November. They came to all our shows. They were there in attendance. The plan was to be there in 2018. But then when I approached them in June to discuss moving earlier, then November 24th, which was the initial date for TKO 41, was moved to December 8th to be at the Bell Center. And very happy because, it makes sense. That's where TKO left off back in 2008. That's where we did our last 10 cards. And so we're back home, and it's going to be amazing.
Yeah, and this is a big card, and I don't want to get too far ahead TKO 41 necessarily, but I thought TKO 42, which is supposed to go February 23rd, it seems to have some interesting implications, talking about there being a featherweight tournament with some rumored participants, including Hatsu Hioki, who's held the title there in the past. So can you maybe confirm or, verify anything going on there? I saw that over at Top MMA News. That's kind of like a rumor.
Well, actually, the thing, Hatsu, our plan was to do Hatsu and the number 1 featherweight in the rankings for this event, but unfortunately, Hatsu lost his last fight in Japan and had a concussion, so he wasn't able to be part of the December 8th card. Hatsu is coming back with TKO. He was the last champion. We're very much looking forward to having him back. Obviously, now with the injury to Alex Morgan, who was supposed to fight Elias Jourdain, there's some reflection to be done here to see how exactly we're going to go ahead with this tournament. But you know what? We'll see what happens Friday night, and after Friday night, we'll have a better idea of what we're doing. But I can confirm that Hatsu's coming back, and it's going to be amazing. The featherweight division will be amazing in TKO.
Yeah, and definitely like a huge card coming up on Friday here with TKO 41. I just kind of wanted to touch on the relationship with Fight Pass, though, because, some stuff has been done with Fight Network in the past, but having a platform like UFC Fight Pass for your brand, how has that, bolstered the already legendary reputation of TKO overall?
Well, actually, the reality of the whole thing is the people at UFC, they were chasing me for the past, I'd say, 7 years.
Oh yeah,
to convince me to start TKO again, because in their vision of things, ever since TKO stopped, the quality of Canadian talent that jumped to the UFC wasn't as good. There's good talent. You look at Rory McDonald, Olivier Aubin-Mercier, and guys like that, but it's nothing close to Georges St-Pierre, Mark Hominick, Sam Stout, Patrick Gotay, and all these guys. So the reason being, when fighters started in TKO, they were ready for the UFC. They were ready for the big show. They were ready for the big lights. There was no jitters when they would show up in the UFC because they had the experience with TKO before. So you know what? We started this thing again in November of 2016, and I can tell you something. Our top stars right now are 10 times better than the guys that ended up in the UFC in the last 7 years.
Yeah, and it's a lot of the guys you've been having come through lately have been really promising, which kind of leads me to talking about the main event here between some of the more highly touted prospects in the last few years. TJ Laramie taking on Charles Jourdain. What are your thoughts on that main event bout there? Has this been a fight that, was invariably going to happen based on how much positive talk surrounds both?
Well, like I said from the get-go, we were going to base the whole company on a standing system, and a lot of organizations really loved the way we did our standing system. And I think even the UFC is really closely looking at what we're doing with that standing. And if Laramie and Jourdain were going to be 1 and 2, they would fight each other. If they weren't, then they wouldn't fight each other. But you know what? These guys fought on each side of a fight card for the past year, and that's a dream fight that everybody wanted to see. And they won enough so that they're number 1 and number 2. So, they get the privilege to fight for the title. And in my opinion, that could be the fight of the year. That's going to be an amazing fight.
Oh, yeah, and as a fan of TKO, I'm definitely really excited for that one. It seems like a fight that's been building up for quite a while, and you guys have done a great job with that. But you touched on the point system there, and it seems like a pretty groundbreaking sort of rating system there. 2 points going to a certain athlete to get the win there, and a 1-point bonus if there's a KO, TKO submission in general. And also the opponent win bonus I thought was an interesting wrinkle to that whole thing. So is that the goal then, to have this as maybe the standard for mixed martial arts going forward, or are you just looking at it within the vacuum of you want to use this for TKO?
Well, honestly, I don't know what other organizations are going to do, but the thing is, with this standing system, there's no flavor of the month. You're going to fight for the title if you deserve it. If you don't deserve it, you won't fight for the title. I mean, it's like I'll give you a silly example, like in tennis. If a very good player wins one tournament, then doesn't play the whole year, the rest of the year, he's not going to be number 1 in the standing and will never be able to fight for or to play for the championship. Same thing here. You want to be a TKO champion, you need to be active to get points, and you need to beat the good guys because you're never going to be there in the rankings.
Yeah, no, I just think it's cool, though. It's like a defined hierarchy and like a meritocracy-based system that I think MMA needs nowadays, so I thought that was cool.
Yeah, that way, there's no preference. There's no, like I said before, no flavor of the month. The organization can be accused of favoring somebody. It's very clear. You want to fight for the title, you need to be in the rankings. But hey, I'm going to give you the best example. But as an organization, we also need to protect our show. So what we did is, if number 2 is not available, then the organization is able to bring in somebody with no points. And that's exactly what's happening on Friday night. Jesse Arnett, the best bantamweight in the country, gets a chance to fight for the title because number 2 wasn't available. And, with a win against Dimitri, with the points he's going to rack in that fight, he's going to end up number 1 with the belt, and it's going to be up to the other guys to chase him.
Yeah, and you touched on a great fight there. I was wanting to talk about that as well, the vacant bantamweight title there. Jesse Arnett gets a lot of talk with all the Canadian mixed martial arts fans. So is it great to have him in the promotion against a guy like Dimitri Wardenberg, who's definitely been making his mark within the TKO promotion? Of
course, it's a great fight. Jesse beat Dimitri already before. They both improved a ton since then. And, also keep in mind one thing. When I started TKO again in August of 2016, I had a list of guys I really wanted. I contacted one of the first guys I contacted was Chris Orodecki, obviously, but one of the first 5 guys I contacted was Jesse, because we wanted the best fighters in the country, and he's been the best 135-pound fighter in the country for a while. But at that time, in August of 2016, he was under contract. We kept in contact, and now was the right time, and I'm pretty sure he's going to enjoy his career with TKO.
Yeah, definitely one to get excited for there. There's a lot of title fights on this card, though. We've also got the Marc-Andre Barrios, Stronier, Gavrilovich fight for the middleweight championship. I think that one's a very compelling one. Just like 2 absolute killers in the middleweight division. What are your thoughts on that bout there?
Oh, that's going to be amazing because those 2 guys, absolutely despise each other. They hate each other. They can't stand each other. That's going to be a very emotional fight. And don't be surprised if the roof of the Bell Center blows up when those two fight in the cage. I don't see that fight going 5 rounds. Somebody's getting knocked out. They both hit very hard. They both have a lot of heart. They're both angry at each other. I'm really looking forward to that fight.
Yeah, and that's great, especially in the current landscape. Like, it seems like certain people are trying to create these like contrived sort of beefs, but it seems like there's like genuine hostility between two guys who are also elite martial artists.
For them, it's natural. They do not like each other, and there's no acting. It's only drama, emotion, and despise. That's all it is.
Yeah. But, I mean, there's a reason the tagline for this card is champions. I mean, just a super stat card. Another bout I wanted to talk about was Derrick Gotay taking on Jesse Ronson there, because I feel like that's a compelling one there. Both guys just like huge names on their resume, notable scalps that both of those guys have. So how did everything come together with bringing, these two individuals together for this bout? Well,
again, it's the ranking. Derrick Gotay made a lot of points at TKO 36 by knocking out Chris Orodecki with the opponent's winning bonus, and he stayed number 1 throughout the season. Lost to Jesse Ronson in in my opinion, a very good fight, and now they get to rematch each other because they're number 1 and number 2. Again, if I was going to be using what other organization use, which is, in my opinion, the flavor of the month, then you don't get that rematch. That rematch is really caused by our system, our ranking system, and I'm very happy because it was a very good fight the first time, and now it's a chance for Derrick to redeem himself, and it's a huge opportunity for Jesse to become a TKO champion.
Yeah, and Derrick Gotay, a very deceptive record. I mean, listed at 8-7, but I mean, with some of the performances you've seen with him, you'd never really get that, especially with like the Chris Orodecki performance there. So super compelling fight, and Jesse Ronson, just the body snatcher, great body work. So I mean, that's got fireworks written all over it at 155.
Yeah, no, you're right. It's it's the whole card. Every single fight is off the charts.
Yeah, and another fight I wanted to talk about, I mean, something that's probably going to leave the cage shaking a little bit. A couple big boys going at it here. We've got the heavyweight championship fight, which is going on, Black Panther against Kung Fu Panda. Can you speak to that fight? Because I feel like that's a compelling one. It's got one of the bigger names with TKO that has been getting a lot of attention, it seems. Yeah,
that's an intriguing fight because, Adam pretty much destroyed everybody we brought in front of him. We were looking for contenders, and it was very hard to get people to fight him because, when you're 5-0 or 6-0 with 5 or 6 knockouts, people don't want to fight you. So we got that kid, Bakary Sako, who showed up in the office one day, said, I want to fight. I'm 16-0 as a kickboxer, 5-0 as an amateur MMA fighter in Europe. I want to fight for the title. I want to fight the best guys. And I was, slow down here. We need to see you in the ring first. And we got him that ACB fight against Blake Nash, and he completely destroyed Blake Nash, knocked him out in under a minute, completely dismantled Nash wrestling, and got a very impressive victory. And if you look at the record of who Blake Nash is versus who did Adam beat in those 6 wins, I think the guy who beat the best competition with one fight is Bakary Sako. I think Adam never beat somebody like Blake Nash, so it's going to be very interesting. Obviously, the edge goes to Adam if you want to bet, because he has more experience. He's 6-0, knocked out everybody. But we shouldn't sleep on Bakary Sako. The guy he beat last time is legit, and he's going to come to the Bell Center on Friday to prove the point. And if he can become a TKO champion after just 2 fights, hey, mark down his name. He's going to be a superstar.
Yeah, I definitely agree. And you were talking about how impressive he looked in that outing, but he also has quite a decorated kickboxing record as well. So I feel like it's going to be fireworks. And the thing with the heavyweight division is it really only takes one shot.
Yeah, exactly. Big boys, one shot and it's over. I mean, obviously Adam has the edge in boxing. He's probably bigger. Well, he is bigger, but Bakary's faster. Bakary has amazing kicks. So, I mean, it's very interesting. Boxing versus kickboxing. Strength versus speed. This fight, I mean, this is going to be obviously this fight won't go through 5 rounds, in my opinion, but it's really a battle of styles. This is what MMA is all about.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree. And I've been talking all about the title fights. I mean, as I should. There are some huge bouts going on there, but the undercard quite stacked as well. A fight I find very compelling in the flyweight division is Tony Laramie taking on Jourdain Graham. It seems like the Laramie brothers have been getting a ton of buzz, but again, it goes back to the points you've made before of it's like a defined ranking system and a meritocracy here. So what are your thoughts on this specific bout?
That's a very exciting bout. I mean, I didn't want to do a 125-pound title yet. I wanted to, build the division a little bit more. And I think we're bringing in the top 2 guys at 125, regardless of the ranking right now. Graham is an amazing Muay Thai fighter who has very good takedown defense. Tony is just, when you try to describe on a piece of paper what the perfect fighter is, Tony Laramie is a perfect type of fighter. He's a great boxer, amazing wrestling, good jiu-jitsu, young, fast, exciting. So, I mean, Laramie and Graham, in my opinion, I told you before that fight of the year, in my opinion, might be Jourdain and Laramie. But this fight between Graham and Laramie could also steal the show, could be the fight of the night. It's such a great card. It's such a great fight. I mean, those 2 guys against each other, I mean, that could be a main event anywhere else in the country.
Oh, I totally agree with you, but kind of switching gears a little bit from the men's flyweight to the women's flyweight division, we have a women's flyweight bout on the card, and is it a similar kind of structure in as far as like you're trying to get more of these women's flyweight bouts set up and kind of see where the division sits before you crown a champion there?
Yeah, I mean, there wasn't enough action. I mean, obviously at 115, Ashley Nicholas, if she would have stayed with TKO, was probably going to be competing for a title at Friday, but she left for Invicta. And those 2 girls fighting are 125. So this is kind of a brand new division that we're starting because Corinne and Greet both used to fight at 115. So it's going to be their first time fighting at 25. Same thing here. We're going to build those divisions, and once we have the right contenders, we'll do title fights.
And another talent I wanted to talk about as well was Matar. It seems like a lot of people are really talking about him, and that's going to be a compelling featherweight fight that he has there. So what are your thoughts on that bout that's set up there?
Oh, that's a great bout because Matar is amazing. He's a great kickboxer, great Muay Thai. I know you saw his knockout of Maxime Soucy last time. He has amazing kicks. He's long, tall, has huge reach for a 45er. But Friday night he's fighting probably one of the best boxers he's ever fought, trained by former TKO champion Donald Bouimet. Press is tough as nails. But I still think Matar is the most dangerous guy in the 45 division. And I'm not talking about right now. I'm talking this guy has a lot of upside. I mean, this kid, if you want, I mean, the top 45ers in TKO should fight this guy now because if they wait a year or 2, this guy's going to be so good. He's already very good, but I think with experience, with ring time, this guy's going to be a monster. Could be one of the top 45ers in the world.
Yeah, and that was something I noticed too, and it seems like you guys are putting stock in Matar as well. I mean, recently signing him to a new long-term contract there. But super compelling card, tons of bouts I haven't even touched on yet, but I understand you're a busy man. Is there anything else you wanted to add as we're wrapping up here? Anything else you wanted to spotlight real quick?
Hey, just keep I mean, if you're too far to come to Montreal, watch it on UFC Fight Pass or on the Fight Network. And if you're able to travel to Montreal, there's still good tickets available on eventco.ca and by calling 514-790-2525. If there's one card in the history of this country that you don't want to miss, it's TKO 41.
I absolutely agree with that statement wholeheartedly. December 8th, it is going at the Bell Center. The big return for TKO. Just had a very well-regarded promoter on the program, TKO President Stephane Patry. Thanks again for the time, man, and you enjoy the rest of your night. Best of luck with the event.
My pleasure. Thank you.